Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast live here on YouTube in the Astro Room. I am your astrologer and your favorite host, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, hello, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell, so you always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love, so this is going to be the weekly Astro forecast for the week of July 24th through 30th, 2023. All right, so thankfully, there is not much going on this week. It's kind of a quiet week in the sky. Nothing really crazy. We have the normal transit of the moon. We do have Mercury moving into its home sign of Virgo, though. And as sort of exciting as that sounds, it's actually not that much. Virgo, Virgo energy, right? It's perfectionist. It's detail oriented. Virgo is the natural ruler of the sixth house in the natal chart. And the sixth house has everything to do with your daily routine, your work, and your health. So kind of stuff that's not exciting, sort of the day-to-day, mundane, run-of-the-mill stuff. And with Mercury entering Virgo, this is going to be a time where things kind of, aren't that exciting, pretty much. But yeah, don't have much going on this week, which could be a good thing, all right? But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself, all right? So as a reminder, especially if you are new, I do the weekly Astro forecast every Monday night live here on YouTube. And also on the last Wednesday of every month, I also do the monthly Astro forecast live here on YouTube. However, if you want more, if you want the daily astrological transits, if you want to learn astrology, if you want, awesome content, then consider following me on Instagram at Divine Feminine Works. I post every day. It's informative. It's chock full of valuable information, so head over there and hit that follow button. All right, so before we get started, let's let the good people over on Twitter know that we are live so that they can come and join us, okay? So, as always, before we get into the details of the week, let's talk housekeeping and announcements. So, if you are joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. Please feel free to say hello on your way in. And if you would be so kind as to hit that like button on your way in as well, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching this on the replay, I truly appreciate you as well. Hopefully you find this information super valuable for the week ahead. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button, I would also appreciate that as well. Okay. So last night I did a presentation on Chiron retrograde. So yesterday Chiron went retrograde in Aries. Super important. And this presentation, I guess I'm tooting my own horn right now because I thought it was dope, but super informative and very informational and very pertinent to what's going on right now. So if you haven't checked that out already, I'm going to put the link to that video in the description box below. And this Wednesday coming up, I will be doing the live monthly Astro forecast. All right. So same channel. Same time, 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about the astrology for August. All right. So set a reminder, tune in. It's going to be a whole vibe. All right. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So originally, I had started this text service where you would get your horoscope every Monday, and that's still the case. However, I've expanded it a little bit. So if you're interested in getting information on a particular sign, whether it's your sun sign, your rising sign, or maybe it's someone else's sign that you kind of cross-watching for, you want to get tips, you want to get tricks, you want to get valuable information, product recommendations, all that good stuff, consider signing up to my text service and join our Astro community. All right. And you can do so by texting the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. If you're interested in that information will be in the description box below as well. All right. So if you are someone who is new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, Or maybe you're not so new to astrology, but you still have no idea of what's going on. Or you find that it's a lot to learn. It can be a bit overwhelming. I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on the 4 pillars of astrology. Now, these 4 pillars are essential. They're the baseline foundation that you need to know in order to start studying astrology, because everything builds upon these 4 things. And those 4 pillars are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. All right. So I created this 11-page PDF document that, again, just gives you the quick and dirty on all 4 of these pillars, because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is definitely a science. And like any science, requires a good deal of study. So in order to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. So if you are interested and would like to cop that link can be found in the description box below. Just drop your email address and you get the free download. All right. And then last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't give you this information. So all of this, everything that I do, right? Everything involving astrology centers around one thing, and that is you, right? I can't speak for other astrologers, but my whole purpose in doing what I do is to help familiarize you with yourself, to help you learn about yourself so that you can heal, so that you can manifest, and that you can live the best possible life that you possibly can here on earth right now. All right. And one of the ways in which I do that is I will read your natal chart to filth, okay, in a good way. So I have my signature service. It's called the Blueprint. And basically it's a written natal chart report plus a natal chart consultation. So you get like a 20-page report plus a 60-minute online consultation where we discuss your natal chart from soup to nuts. All right. People absolutely love it. It includes information on relationships, on your money, on your job, on your life path number, on ways that you can heal. Like, it is chock full of information to the point where some people say, wow, like this is really a lot. Like, it takes a while for them to digest it. But the whole purpose is so that you can really get familiar with yourself via your natal chart. So if you are interested in ordering this service, you'll actually find that information here in the video. It's linked to the video, or you can hit the description box below and that will be available there as well. All right. So that's pretty much it for announcements and housekeeping. So let's get into the week and see what we've got going on. Like I said, not too much. It's a quiet week. And I don't know about you, but I personally like that, because apart from just the astrology, I feel like life is really lifing lately. And so the less we've got going on in the sky that's either going to trigger us or push us or do anything like that, the better at this point. So not so much going on. So without further ado, let's just get into the highlights and see what we do have going on for this week. Okay. So first we have what I like to call Say It Loud. Okay. And this is the one, actually there's two transits going. Well, I guess 3 if you count Mercury and Virgo. So this is Mercury. So Say It Loud has everything to do with Mercury conjunct Venus in Leo. Okay. So Leo is very heart-centered energy. It's also very dramatic. So people may really be dramatic. People may be speaking from the heart, and people may have the courage to say maybe what they've been afraid to say. They may have the courage to speak from their inner child. Okay. Now, with Venus having recently gone retrograde and both of these planets in the sign of Leo, I definitely expect some sparks to fly in the romance department. You may have people really having the courage to shoot their shot. You may have people bearing their soul and opening their hearts, or you may have people talking craziness, right? Like finally having the courage to say some crazy things, right? So never a dull moment whenever we're talking about Leo energy. Then next up, we have what I like to call Details Matter. Okay, this is Mercury in Virgo. So again, not a very sexy transit, but a very necessary transit. This is one of those transits that really helps you get organized. It helps you take care of the finer details in life and helps you get your life in order if you use the energy constructively. All right. And then finally, we have what I like to call Keep Going. So we're still sort of, I'm not going to say we're on the tail end, but we are making our way away from that new moon in Cancer that we had last week to the full moon in Aquarius that's going down next week. So right now, the moon is in the waxing phase. And so whenever the moon is in the waxing phase, we are urged to keep going. We are urged to move forward, to take action steps in a variety of different ways towards the things that we want. All right. So this week, we've got the moon in Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. So in Scorpio, things are about to get deep, right? Although there isn't much going on, a Scorpio moon can always bring a lot of emotional intensity. Then we've got the moon in Sagittarius, which is like expansion, taking up space and being larger than life. And so our emotions tend to do the same as well when the moon is in Sag. And then finally, we have the moon in Capricorn. So this is going to be about being success driven and ambitious and sort of reaching the finish line. So having that motivation to keep going. Capricorn energy is really about like keeping your eye on the prize. And when the moon is in Capricorn, that's exactly what we feel like doing. All right. So those are the highlights. Let's move into exactly what's going on this week. All right. So as you can see, not much going on. First up, tomorrow, we've got the moon moving into Scorpio. Thereafter, on Thursday, we've got Mercury conjunct Venus in Leo and the moon moving into Sagittarius. Then on Friday, we've got that Mercury transit into Virgo, followed by Mercury trine the North Node. Then finally, we close out the week on Saturday with the moon in Capricorn. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the details of the week. All right, my loves. So we start, my loves. All right, my loves. So we start off the week with an intense moon in Scorpio, and you will see that at the left-hand portion of the chart. Interestingly enough, the moon has just crossed over the South Node, and this is particularly important, okay? So let's chat. Let's talk about it, shall we? So when the moon is in Scorpio, this is when we are given opportunities to address some of our deepest emotional wounds. Of all the water signs, I feel like Scorpio is the most intense because the energy can really cut deep. And in cutting deep, we're able to shed light on the wounds, the traumas, and everything that we're sort of holding on to, like our emotional baggage, for lack of a better phrase. And so when the moon is in Scorpio, it's really about addressing our bad habits, addressing sort of our shortcomings, the uglier side of life and of ourselves even sort of come to the surface when we've got the moon in Scorpio, okay? So this is the time when you'll find that you will be, or you can be, very triggered by people or by situations where you may just be feeling a lot, and you may not even be able to pinpoint where these feelings stem from. By and large, when the moon is in Scorpio, this is when you want to do shadow work. This is when you want to be intentional about doing shadow work, because all of us have trauma. Even the people that had the so-called quote unquote best childhoods or whatever, we all experience trauma. And interestingly enough, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about how whenever we hear the word trauma, it sort of has this connotation of being like, whenever people hear trauma, they think of like being in a car accident or being abused or witnessing a murder or something like that. Trauma does not have to be that dire. You could just had something happen to you that may seem a lot less than traumatic, but to you, it was traumatic. Maybe it hit you in a place where you're extremely insecure or something like that. So trauma doesn't have to be some major catastrophe in your life. Trauma could be something that merely has left a wound or some kind of hurt within you, right? And the level of hurt, the level of trauma can, vary depending on people. But being intentional about doing shadow work when the moon is in Scorpio is super important, because this is how we start clearing our energy, okay? And it's important to clear your energy because you definitely want to not be holding on to a lot of emotional garbage, right? So the moon in Scorpio is perfect for that. So emotions are felt very deeply, and we kind of have this instinctive desire to want to understand ourselves. Scorpio has the energy of Scorpio is very emblematic of your psyche. So things like psychiatrists, psychologists, the whole study of psychology is governed by Scorpio. So it's all about understanding ourselves at a very, very deep level. And not even just understanding ourselves. I feel like that Scorpio energy wants you to understand things in general from a very deep core level. And so when the moon is in Scorpio, that's what we desire. That's kind of what we want to do. We feel good when we understand ourselves, when we can understand a situation beyond or below the surface, or we can understand the inner workings of a relationship beyond a superficial level. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, the moon is going to be in the first quarter phase. And the first quarter phase is halfway between the new moon and the full moon. So we're at the halfway point in the waxing phase of the moon. Okay. And during the first quarter phase, this is the time where you sort of put the past behind you. Whatever has transpired, and it's really all about moving forward. Okay. The energy is very active and impulsive. So it's almost like we feel the sense of urgency to get things done or to achieve things, right? And unfortunately, with the moon being in Scorpio, although we feel like we want to achieve things and do things and we have this sense of urgency, it's almost like we may have an invisible weight on us that's preventing us from doing that. And that's our emotional baggage. And that's why the moon in Scorpio is so important for doing shadow work, because it helps you clear that emotional baggage. All right. It's also a great time to confront your fears and maybe any limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. So in understanding ourselves at a core level, sometimes we have to examine the things that we believe about ourselves. A lot of times the things that we believe about ourselves we're not original ideas. It may be things that are imposed on you. Perhaps as a child, you were always described as a brat or spoiled or something like that. And your family would treat you a certain way because of that. And so you grow up believing about yourself, oh, that I'm spoiled and I'm a brat. But that may not even be true, or that may not be how you currently feel about yourself or what you currently believe about yourself. So Scorpio energy, again, I can't say it enough. It's really about being able to get to the core of who you are, why you do the things that you do, what emotional baggage you're holding on to, and all of that fun stuff, right? Doesn't that sound like fun? It should. All right, so let's keep it moving. All right, so next up on Thursday, we've got Mercury conjunct Venus in Leo, and you will see that at the right-hand portion of the chart. Both of those planets are at 28 degrees of Leo. And then we also, that same day, have Mercury trine the North Node, okay? So the North, is that what it is? Nope, I'm sorry. That is on Friday. No, so apart from Venus conjunct Mercury, we've got the moon moving into Sagittarius, and you will see that at the upper left-hand portion of the chart. Okay. So first up, Mercury conjunct Venus. I kind of alluded to this before. Mercury and Venus, it's like, if I had to sum it up in a sentence, it would be say it with your chest, right? Like, speak the fuck up. Especially when it comes to romance, when it comes to relationships. Now, the good thing about this transit is that apart from being bold in your communication, it just allows you to like make friends, be social. It's a very, almost like I wouldn't say like a chatty Cathy kind of transit, but I will say that it fosters friendship. It fosters, and friendship based on mutual desires, on mutual interests, that kind of thing. Leo also has a lot to do with like fun and entertainment. So this could be being able to make friends in like fun environments. So if you happen to decide to do something fun, to go to a sporting event, to go to a game or something like that, it's sort of like easier for you to make friends because everyone is kind of in this jovial, entertaining kind of energy, right? So if you're looking to meet new people, I think that this is one of the best transits for that, okay? When it comes to other things, you'll find the communication is generally harmonious and pleasant. Again, people are sort of in this jovial kind of space. It's also one of those transits that's really great for linking up with your inner child. So I tend to talk about inner child a lot because your inner child is super important. Your inner child really represents the essence of you. It's sort of the you before the world made you jaded and, adult-like. And with Mercury conjunct Venus, it's almost like your relationship with your inner child kind of comes to the forefront. That's not to say that you're going to start hearing voices in your head and like a little kid is going to be talking to you. It's more so you're going to find your inner child reflected back to you in your relationships, whether it's your romantic relationships, whether it's friendships. You're going to see glimpses of your inner child perhaps all over the place. It's like your inner child is really going to be on your mind. Leo energy also has a lot to do with creativity. And, children tend to be very creative. They tend to be very imaginative. And you may find that your imagination is really soaring under this transit. Or again, you just find that your inner child is being reflected back to you via people, places, and situations. So it's really up to you to listen, okay? Because your inner child has a lot of important things to say. And I've learned that the wisdom of your inner child is invaluable. What your inner child has to show you, the wisdom. I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent, but having become jaded, right? Having gone through situations in life that would cause traumas or, are just less than desirable, right? Your inner child has a perspective of you and of the world sort of before all of that has happened. And in reflecting back on that, right, in really understanding your inner child, you get this wisdom that's really interesting. Because I know, me personally, I can distinctly remember the age when a lot of things that I like to do, like I stopped doing them because I had to focus on other adult-like things, right? And in doing inner child work, I discovered so many things that I not only love to do, but that I was good at. And that brought a richness to my life that my life had really been missing. And so I really urge you, especially with this transit, to really engage in inner child work. And literally, so the way that I like to do it is I engage in things I used to do as a child, and then it sort of jogs my memory. Now, please don't laugh at me and please don't judge me. I like to color. And whenever I feel like I want to tap into my inner child, like I will break out like a coloring book, or I'll print out something and color. And it'll jog my memory back to when I used to do that as a kid, right? And sometimes I'll look at old photos, family photos from when I was a child, and that sort of jogs your memory and gets you really in touch with your inner child. All right. So try that and see how it works, especially under this transit. I think it's going to be a very eye-opening experience for many of us. Okay. But yeah, so apart from the whole inner child thing, we've got the whole relationship thing with Venus currently retrograde. So you may be revisiting past romantic relationships, whether it's with the person that you had the relationship with, or maybe a new person who sort of has the same situation going on as the old person. So you could be encountering old people or old situations with new people. And with Mercury conjunct Venus, it's really like you're sort of able to mentally process these things now. I like this transit, in conjunction with Venus retrograde, because it allows us to be conscious and cognizant of different patterns we've had in relationships, maybe hangups we have with respect to relationships. This transit kind of, it fosters a lot of introspection, not just because Venus is retrograde, but because Mercury has everything to do with our minds and thinking. So this really may have you thinking about things from the past, whether it's your inner child or whether it's past relationship issues. And whenever we think about the past, it's really an opportunity to process it so that we can create a somewhat better future. So much can be accomplished with this particular transit if you want it to. The energy is available to you. It's really up to you if you want to use it or not. All right. And then we have the waxing gibbous moon in Sagittarius. So what I like about this, in conjunction with Mercury conjunct Venus on the same day, is that whenever the moon is in Sagittarius, we are extremely optimistic. I have to say, one of my favorite positions of the moon, like as the moon moves through the zodiac, I think I love the transition between moon in Scorpio and moon in Sagittarius the most. Because Scorpio, when the moon is in Scorpio, it like takes you to the depths of the deepest part of the ocean, right? It's intense. We're dealing with intense emotions. We're dealing with really heavy stuff, right? And then we go from the depths of the ocean and we soar into space with the moon in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius uplifts, it encourages, it is optimistic, right? Now, when the moon is in Scorpio and in Sagittarius, both of those signs are really concerned with the truth, but they're concerned with the truth in different ways. Scorpio is all about digging deep to find the ugly truth, right? It's the truth on a very granular level. It's the truth that's beneath the surface. Whereas Sagittarius, it's sort of the absolute truth, right? The universal truth. It's like Scorpio, you are at, that part of the ocean where the Titanic is, okay? And then Sagittarius is like you are in outer space. The energies are so different, but sort of like different sides of the same coin. I really hope I'm making sense with this. But yeah, when the moon is in Sagittarius, like we feel good. We feel like we want to accomplish things. We feel optimistic. We see the bigger picture and we focus on the bigger picture. We want to expand our minds. We want to learn new things. We want to experience life, okay? And so that's exactly what we do. That's where we derive our emotional satisfaction when the moon is in Sagittarius. And because the moon is waxing, this is about taking steps to achieve our goals. And what better way to achieve your goals than to see the bigger picture and be optimistic about it, right? So that's the moon in Sagittarius. And that is what's going on Thursday. All right, so let's keep it moving. All right, so on Friday, we've got Mercury entering its home sign of Virgo. And Mercury is also going to trine the North Node. All right, so you will see Mercury in Virgo at the top right-hand portion of the chart. And then you'll also see the North Node in Aries at the bottom portion of the chart. All right. So, one thing that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the moon in Scorpio is that as the moon goes into Scorpio, it's going to cross over the South Node. This is important because South Node is all about the things that we sort of have to release, things that we have to move away from. And so it's really going to behoove you this week, particularly tomorrow, to engage in shadow work. Figure out how you're standing in your own way. Figure out what emotional baggage you may be holding on to and then release it, okay? One of the things that I love to do whenever I'm doing shadow work or whenever I feel the need to release something, I'll get into a meditative state, I'll think about it, and I will journal everything about that thing. Let's say I have an insecurity. I will write everything about that insecurity and then I will burn it. And then what I usually like to do is I usually like to scatter the ashes, like as it burns down, throw out the ashes to the wind and let it go. And I feel like that has been helpful. So that may be something that you may want to engage in, especially tomorrow. But yeah, however you're standing in the way, however you're standing in your own way, whatever wounds, traumas, baggages, whatever you're holding on to, you're definitely going to want to release it because with the moon crossing over the North Node, doing so will sort of put you in the right direction and in the right trajectory towards where you need to go. All right. So I forgot to mention that before. All right, so let's talk Mercury into Virgo. Okay, so Mercury is actually the ruling planet for Virgo. And so when Mercury is in Virgo, Mercury is in its home sign. Okay, well, one of its home signs. The other home sign is Gemini. Yeah, this transit is not sexy. It's actually kind of boring. It's all about sort of getting organized and getting efficient. Think about this transit as like a 3-week stint of cleaning up, organizing, getting rid of clutter, getting your life in order. All right. So you're going to want to look to see where Virgo is in your natal chart. This is where for the next 3 weeks, once Mercury goes into Virgo, this is where you have the opportunity to clean things up, to make sense of things, to compartmentalize things, to organize things, to become more efficient, figure out ways of doing things better. May also be a place, or wherever it is in your chart, may also be a place where you are being of service to people, where you are analyzing information. It all depends on where it's going down in your chart. However, the overarching theme of this particular transit is that now is the time to really pay attention to the finer details. a lot of what has been going on recently has us looking at the bigger picture. We've had that North Node entering Aries. We've had several of, other transits that really have us focusing on the bigger picture. However, from time to time, you really do need to take care of the details, because in neglecting the details, those details can kind of pile up and perhaps cause a catastrophe, or you may miss something that's important. And so, especially when it comes to paperwork, because Mercury has a lot to do with like contracts, paperwork, etc., you may want to go over things again. You may want to really comb through things. You may want to perhaps renegotiate certain things, right? This would be like a great time to go through your bank statements and look to see if there's any discrepancies, right? Or you may want to look into refinancing something. Like, there's so much that you can do with this in terms of getting organized and getting efficient, okay? Let's see, what else do we have here? Virgo also has that energy of perfectionism. So it's not about the fact that you feel like you need to be perfect at things. A lot of times we can perfect whatever it is that we're doing, and you perfect what you're doing by continuously doing it, by trying to get at least 1% better every day. And so over the next 3 weeks, like, focus, especially when you look at your natal chart and you see where Virgo is, figure out one thing that you just want to work on. And it's not to say that you need to go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, right? This is more about what small steps can I do, or that I can take to improve this just a little bit every day. And I'm pretty sure that by the time this transit is done, you will have improved a significant amount in the thing that you were focused on, right? So just my 2 cents in terms of how to use the energy of this transit. But by and large, it's a transit that's great for organizing, efficiency, service, and perfecting whatever it is that you're doing. All right. Then we have Mercury trine the North Node, okay? And so while we're paying attention to the details with Mercury and Virgo, Mercury trine the North Node also has you looking at the bigger picture. But this is about sort of getting your mind in alignment with the bigger picture. So this transit definitely lends itself to you thinking about your purpose, what you're here to do, and perhaps crafting a plan of action in order to do the thing, right? Mercury also has a lot to do with learning. And so with Mercury is in Virgo, right? But the North Node is in Aries. So this may be a time when you're learning new things that can sort of put you on the right trajectory or on the right path. I also feel like this is a time where you may want to talk to new people, especially because, again, that North Node is in Aries. So maybe a time where you are inclined to strike up new conversations with new people, learn new things. Because the North Node is in Aries, there is a little amount of risk that, I'm not going to say that risk is necessary, but I will say that if you are willing to take a risk on something new, especially as it pertains to your life purpose or your soul's mission or whatever, I feel like it's definitely going to pay off, right? Fortune favors the bold. And right now with this North Node in Aries, many of us are being urged, we're being pushed to be bold and to be sort of selfish in the things that we want to achieve and the goals that we would like to achieve, right? Let's see, anything else here? That's pretty much it. I feel like it's an interesting mix because, again, Mercury in Virgo, detailed oriented. Mercury trine North Node, seeing the bigger picture. But when you put the two together, you've got kind of two different vantage points that I think are very beneficial. So on the one hand, you're crafting a plan towards where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. But at the same time, you are handling the details. You're paying attention to the details of that plan. So again, even with this transit, I feel like much can be accomplished if you will allow it. All right. So let's keep it moving. All right. And then finally, we close out the week with the moon moving into Capricorn. And you will see that at the top hand portion of the chart, the top right hand portion of the chart, that is. Okay. So we end the week on sort of a quiet note, right? We have the moon moving into Capricorn. So whenever the moon is into Capricorn, we have an instinctive desire to achieve things. We become very success minded and success driven. And with the moon in the waxing phase, it's really like we're seeing the finish line and we're like, all right, I'm going to do whatever needs to be done to cross that finish line. So this is about putting in the work, being diligent, but also being patient. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of patience. So it's not to say that you see the finish line and you're like, full steam ahead. This is like, all right, I got to keep chugging. I got to keep chugging. I'm getting the vision of, those old school trains that are fed by coal. You just keep feeding the coal and the train keeps moving forward, right? That's kind of how we are when the moon is in Capricorn. We're motivated by a desire for success. Moon in Capricorn also can be pretty sobering in that we kind of see things for how they are. Again, with Capricorn being ruled by Saturn, Saturn is the planet of harsh lessons, obstacles, challenges. It's sort of the difficult part of life. And so whenever the moon is in Capricorn, we're kind of painfully aware of the realities of life, of the limitations of life. But the way that you overcome that is that you keep your eyes on the prize. You keep your eyes on that finish line. And regardless of what's going on, regardless of what obstacles are in your way, you keep chugging and you keep moving forward, okay? It can also be a very productive time. Because whenever we're talking about Capricorn, we're talking about success, we're talking about ambition, but we're also talking about work. Capricorns can be work horses. They sometimes tend to be workaholics, right? And so whenever the moon is in Capricorn, use that energy for something productive, particularly any sort of task that may be difficult or that you've been putting off for a long time. You'll find you'll be a little more motivated to do it when the moon is in Capricorn because you have that instinctive desire to succeed and to achieve. So if you have the opportunity to plan how you do your work, if you have autonomy in how you work and when you work, you might want to keep some of your more difficult tasks or tasks that you've been putting off for a long time. You might want to do them while the moon is in Saturn. You'll have more of a motivation to get them done. All right. All right, my loves, that's what's going on for the week, okay? And so now I will be pulling cards for messages from Spirit. Again, I do these by sign, but whatever message resonates for you is your message, all right? Whether it's your sun, your moon, your rising, your north node, your Venus, your Jupiter, doesn't matter. If the message is for you, it is for you, all right? So as always, we start with Aries. Let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. All right, Aries, we've got the Queen of Cups. So I'm hearing the Ice Spice song, She in Her Mood, right? Like, you're a little moody today. Like, I feel like you kind of don't want to be bothered. There's something that you are particularly emotionally drawn to this week. And I see that you don't want to entertain anything else. I think that your time, your effort, your energy, your emotions are really focused on this one thing. And I feel like you feel like everything else is a distraction. I also feel like you could definitely be prone to fights this week because you're really in your mood and you're really like feeling kind of emotional and maybe a little sensitive. I feel like you are really prone to popping off at a moment's notice. Like someone could look at you kind of sideways and you are just ready to fight. So you might want to, I'm hearing isolate. I don't mean like throw yourself in a closet and don't come out. I mean that you might want to withdraw from hanging out with people. Something about your energetic field, something about your aura is really sensitive this week. And I feel like absorbing anyone else's energy, having to endure or put up with anyone else's bullshit is really not going to have you feeling good. So this may be a week for quiet reflection, for some downtime, for some, me time where you sort of withdraw from everyone and sort of keep to yourself. All right. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for this week. Taurus. You've got the 9 of Swords. There is a dream that you have. It could be a recurring dream. So some of you, I'm getting this may not even be a dream. It may be more of a nightmare. A recurring dream that you keep having. But also when I heard dream, I heard like a goal or something that you want to have, but you're kind of stressing over the details. Like all of these swords represent like different thoughts. You're like, okay, how is this thing going to work out? Well, what if this happens or what if this doesn't happen? Like you're kind of too lost in the sauce in terms of the details, which is kind of weird because Mercury is about to go into Virgo and really have you in the details. But spirit is like, if this is a dream, right? If this is something that you want to manifest, the how, the when, the who has to do what to make this thing happen, that is not your concern. The how is always left to the universe. It's always left to God. So what you're stressing about, you don't need to be concerned about it. I know that's easier said than done because it's almost like, you know, that meme with the guy, he's got like that board and it's just like all of the clippings and the string and it just looks like a mess. And it's like he's trying to, explain something to someone. Like that is exactly what's going on in your mind right now. You're really in the details trying to figure something out. And spirit is like, please just go to sleep. Number one, stop looking at your phone before you go to sleep. If you can, put your phone in another room. Like it's sort of the energy of your phone coupled with you lost in the sauce of the details that has you not sleeping well. And try to really just power down. You might need a distraction, I'm hearing. This may be, whatever this thing is, it's kind of too heavy on your brain right now. You need to relax, do something like go on a spa day, go out in nature, do something to take your mind off this thing and release the reins. Again, the how and the when is not under your control. So just let go, release, and just let things happen naturally. Okay. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for this week. No, this card doesn't feel right. Okay. All right, Gemini, we've got the 9 of Cups. All right. Gemini, you want to feel good about something. You feel like you're on the precipice of finally having this thing that you want, but you are afraid that someone is going to take it from you. So it's almost like you're feeling good, but you don't want to feel good. You're feeling good, but you don't want to celebrate just yet. It's almost like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And spirit is like, please stop doing that. The more that you do that, the more likely it is that the other shoe will drop. So it's really up to you to wholeheartedly embrace the fact that whatever it is that you want, you're getting. No one's taking it from you. It is rightfully yours. It's got your name on it. I'm seeing like a trophy with your name sort of engraved in it. Like your name has already been engraved. You are getting the award. You are getting the recognition. You are getting the thing that you want. You just have to align your mind wholeheartedly to the fact that you already have it, meaning that you abandon the thought of someone taking it from you or it not happening. It's already yours. For some, I'm hearing this has to do with a relationship. It has to do with a relationship. Like, I don't know if you're afraid that the person is going to reject you or the person is with somebody already. Like, whatever it is, it's already yours. Just claim it. Unequivocally claim it and get your mind in alignment with that. All right? Okay. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer for this week. All right, Cancer, we've got the 4 of Wands. I'm hearing someone going to a wedding, a nice celebration. Doesn't this look like, a wedding ceremony, especially with these 2 people over here? So I don't know if you're going to a wedding or maybe you are getting married, but I definitely see a celebration of sorts, a celebration of love, a celebration of joy. I just see togetherness and having fun. So I think that some of you may be attending a really fun event this week. Like I said, it could be a wedding or it could just be a situation where you're feeling joyous, or maybe you have yourself, like maybe you're starting to feel this energy, meaning let's say you've sworn off relationships for a while and maybe you've met someone who's getting you to start feeling this way. Maybe you were like, I'm never going to get married. I don't want to get married. All men are cheaters. All women are gold diggers. Like you were in that frame of mind. And all of a sudden now you're not. Like you're like, oh, I see the good in this person, or marriage is really a good thing. Like I want to have it. Like some of you, this energy of wanting to get married, wanting to be happy, wanting to be joyous is it's almost like it's coming back to you. Like your battery is being recharged with this kind of energy. And spirit is just like, enjoy it. Not only enjoy it, embrace it. Embrace it, because some of you have psyched yourself out. Like it's almost like you said, well, I don't want to get married because you thought it wasn't possible. Or I don't want to have a long-term relationship or live with someone because of X, Y, and Z. But really in your heart, that's what you want. Especially with Mercury conjunct Venus and Leo, a lot of us are going to get really clear on what it is that we want, like especially what our heart wants. And for you, I think that your heart wants marriage, your heart wants togetherness, your heart wants living together, all of that stuff. And I feel like that energy, there's a resurgence of that energy within you. So again, Spirit says, embrace it and enjoy it. There's plenty more to come. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo. Okay, Leo. Got the Ace of Wands. All right, Leo, keep it in your pants. Yeah, you know what this looks like. You know exactly what this looks like. Leo, y'all are feeling extra this week. And not that there's anything wrong with that. However, do not let this, and even if you're a woman, you know what this means. Your sexual energy, your sexual desire, your horniness, right? Nothing wrong with that energy. Nothing wrong with that at all, right? Don't allow it, though, to dictate your decisions. Some of you are, for lack of a better phrase, y'all are dickmatized. Y'all are pussy whipped by somebody. Like someone has really turned you out, or your desire for sex is so strong right now. Don't allow that desire or that longing or that wanting to dictate the decisions that you make. You want to think with this head, not the other one, all right? And so if you cannot have sex, or if that's just not on the agenda for this week, you'll want to transmute this energy into something creative, okay? And that could be anything. Do some inner work, do some inner child work and see what your inner child wants to do, okay? But channel this energy constructively. However, if you are able to have sex, much can be created this week with your sexual fluids, with all of that good, interesting stuff. You might want to look into sex magic or anything like that. I'm hearing like that would be very beneficial for you. Anyway, Leo, it's just a very lusty week. So do with that as you will. But lusty also equals creative. All right. So if you can't enjoy sex, right? Don't let that energy go to waste. Transmute it into something creative. You won't be disappointed. Trust me. Well, that was an interesting ass message. All right. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we've got for Virgo for this week. All right, Virgo, you've got two. Oh, we've got the Star and we've got the King of Swords. As soon as I pulled these two cards, I heard that song by Usher called Superstar. And the words go, I'll be your groupie baby because you are my superstar. Someone thinks the world of you, like you are a star in their eyes. I feel like this King of Swords, like you are on this King of Swords mind all the time. And he's just looking at you like, wow. Or she's just looking at you or thinking about you like, oh my gosh. Like they've got you on such a pedestal. You are definitely on someone's mind. And I think that you may even be able to feel their energy sort of pulling on you, or you may, like your ears may get hot. Like you may physically or viscerally feel this person pulling on your energy, or like thinking of you really hard, right? Like you'll hear, I know when people tend to be thinking about me, I will hear certain songs, like whatever they want to say, I'll hear it in a song, or I'll hear something like that either sounds like their voice or sounds like something that they would say. Like Virgo, I think that a lot of that is happening this week. And you know what it is? This person is trying to find the courage to actually talk to you in person, or actually talk to you. I feel like they're thinking a lot about you because they want to communicate with you, but they maybe don't know how. And so rather than taking the initiative to physically pick up the phone and call you or send you a text message or whatever, they're just thinking about you real heavy. They're thinking about how they want to talk to you, what they're going to say to you. Some of them are even like practicing what they're going to say to you. Like it's low key kind of cute, right? But I feel like you're going to feel it this week. I feel like whoever And it doesn't necessarily have to be a King of Swords, meaning that it's a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. It could be someone who just really has you on their mind. Like you are really on this person's mind. Excuse me. Whenever I sneeze, that means I'm right. Yeah, Virgo. Someone's really thinking about you. Heavy, but in a nice way. Again, you're like their superstar. Like they're like such a fanboy or a fangirl for you. It's really cute. So I don't know, Virgo. Like, see where this goes. See what unfolds, because I think this whole scenario, like, this is gonna play out very interestingly over the next couple of months, especially while Venus is still retrograde. So this may be someone from the past. You never know. All right. Interesting. I like that. Ooh, that was juicy. That was juicy. All right. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for this week. Libra, we have the King of Swords. Are you the one that's thinking about Virgo? Perhaps, but no. All right, Libra, you guys are really, I'm hearing diplomatic. There's a situation this week that's going to require you to be extremely diplomatic, meaning that you're going to have to weigh all the options and you're going to have to make a decision that is fair to all parties involved. So I'm hearing like mediation, a settlement or something like that. So some of you could be dealing with like a legal situation where an agreement has to be made. But for others, there's a particular situation in your life. It could be at work. It could be a relationship where you have to make a diplomatic approach, meaning you can't just shoot off at the mouth. You can't just decide impulsively or even act impulsively. You're really being called to weigh all the options, really deliberate on what this thing is, and then take action from there. But I do see, because this person's this King of Swords, his sword is up, like there is a conversation that's going to need to be had this week, or there is a decision that's going to have to be made. So your advice is to really think about it. Don't be hasty in making a decision. Don't rush to judgment, but really weigh all the options and be diplomatic in your approach. All right. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for this week. All right, Scorpio, we've got the 7 of Cups. Scorpio, it's two things. Number one, you've got lots of options. There's a lot going on this week. A lot of different things to address. You know what this is, what I'm seeing right now? You know, when you go to like Dave & Buster's or you go to like the arcade, like back in the day, they had that whack-a-mole game where the mole would come up and you have to whack it with that mallet and they would come up at different things at different times. I feel like that's sort of the energy for you this week. It's like, I don't know if you're putting out different fires or you've got a lot of things going on, but like each of these, it's like a mole is coming out of them and you got to address it, right? So some of you maybe by the end of the week, you may feel emotionally exhausted because you've got a lot going on. There's also going to be a lot of options, right? With a lot of things going on, invariably it leads to a lot of opportunities. And so there may be a certain amount of confusion in terms of, well, which opportunity should I take? You know, you've got 2 moles coming up at the same time. Well, which one should I hit first in order to, actually be successful, right? Different opportunities, different things coming up. Try your best to prioritize things. Not everything that comes up is a viable option. So you're really going to need to use your powers of discernment to figure out where you should put your energy, because not all of these cups are valuable, right? Look at this one right here. It looks like it's got like a dragon or something like that. This one has a snake. This one, you don't know what it is. This one looks like a victory wreath. This one looks like riches. This one looks like maybe a person. Like, not every option is a viable one. So again, use your discernment to figure out where you should spend your emotional currency, all right? Because by the end of the week, you don't want to be completely depleted, all right? So choose wisely. All right, next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for this week. Hold on a second. All right. I'm typically not guided to take the ones off the floor, but I'm hearing that I should take this one. All right, Sagittarius, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. So slow and steady wins the race. Some of you, the tale of the tortoise and the hare. You guys are typically the hare. You want to go full force, super fast, And there's this cockiness to you that feels like, oh, I could win the race, right? For some reason this week, you sort of need to embody the energy of the tortoise. The reason being, especially because Mercury is going into Virgo, is that if you are jumping and bouncing to the finish line, there's going to be details that you're going to miss. So whatever the situation is, and you'll know this is for you if this message resonates, right? There's a situation where you want to go really fast. You want to go really fast. But Spirit is like, it behooves you to go slow, because there's certain details that you need to encounter, certain details you need to pay attention to, and you won't if you are going, if you're going like full steam ahead, right? So this is slow and steady wins the race. It's almost like if you go too fast, there are valuable details. See, like this coin, there's valuable details, and these details, I'm seeing these details looking like jewels. You'll miss these jewels because you're just going too fast. Slow down and really pay attention to what's going on in this situation. Some of these jewels, right? Like this coin, again, some of these jewels may be disguised as things going wrong or things not going your way, but it really is a blessing in disguise. So whatever this is, go slow. And I get this is a situation that you're just starting. So it could be a new project. It could even be a new relationship even, but you're sort of at the starting line and you feel like you're the hare, right? But Spirit is like, I need you to embody the energy of the tortoise. Go slow and pay attention to the details. I'm hearing like it's a relationship and you're like really hot for this person, right? Like you're just like, oh my gosh, this person is great. We've hit it off so well. Ooh, oh, you do not know what I'm hearing right now. Okay. So I was watching this show on HBO called American Monster, and it's about like people who kill their family members and gruesome murders and stuff. And so this woman was dating this guy, and, you know, she was recently divorced, and they dated for 2 months and then got engaged. And when they were engaged, she realized that the dude was like batshit crazy. And then long story short, he ended up killing her. I am not under any circumstances saying that that's what's going to happen to you. I'm saying, though, if you get into a relationship, the reason you need to take it slow is because you need to see those red flags. Those red flags are extremely important. So do not by any means jump head first without looking and wanting to go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. Take your time, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a work thing, a new project, whatever. Take your time and pay attention to the details. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn for this week. Capricorn, we've got the King of Wands. Oh, you guys have a very confident, almost cocky energy to you this week. Some of you guys are super, like, you know how you guys are excellent at keeping your eyes on the prize, being success driven. Like you guys are not only success driven, you're like, I know I'm going to get this. I know I'm going to succeed. Like you have this energy again of confidence and even cockiness. And it's very magnetic. Like I see you attracting a lot of people this week with this sort of energy. So if you are someone who's like a business owner, if you are a manager, if you lead people in any sort of capacity, this is going to be the week where people are very primed to listen to you because you're exuding this energetic confidence. You have this energy about you that not only do you know what you're doing, but you do it well. And people just want to follow you. So with great power comes great responsibility. So do not abuse this power, but use it to your advantage. Again, if you're leading people, this is the week to give motivational speeches so that people get to work. Let's say you're in something like sales. This is where you really want to rile up your sales team and have them making them calls and doing all of that, right? You are confident. You are collected. You are just really feeling yourself, and people will be feeling you in return. So again, with great power comes great responsibility. Use this power wisely. Okay. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we've got for Aquarius for this week. Aquarius, we've got the Two of Wands. So you're trying to figure out, I'm hearing the question that you're asking yourself is, where do I go from here? Typically, the Two of Wands denotes having to make a choice, like figuring out which direction you want to go in. I get the sense that you've figured out which direction you want to go in, but you're just like, okay, I know I want to go right, but what next? Like, what do I do next? What now? Sort of feeling like you're a little lost, feeling like you're a little unsure. Maybe you're unsure of the direction that you're going and you chose this direction, but now you're like, I don't know, maybe I should have chose a different direction. Or like I'm just hearing a lot more questions than anything else. What do I do now? Where do I go from here? Like who, what, when, where, how? Like this is a week where you're asking a lot of questions, trying to figure out, is this the right path? What do I do next? What's the next step? Should I be talking to someone? Should I do this? So it feels like a little bit of confusion. It feels like being a little lost. And Spirit is like, sometimes we have to get lost in order to find ourselves. And so regardless of whether you're going in the right direction or maybe the not so right direction, at some point, it's going to be clear to you where you need to go. So indulge in all of these questions that you're asking yourself. Allow the universe to help you figure them out. This is ultimately a time of surrender. And sometimes our questions don't get answered when we want them to be answered or how we want them to be answered, but they get answered nonetheless. So this is a week for you to remain open and flexible, because I feel like God, the universe, Spirit, has a lot to impart on you and show you. Those questions will be answered. You just have to remain receptive to receiving an answer from Spirit. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. So let's see what we've got for Pisces for this week. All right, Pisces. We've got the Star. Pisces, there is this energy of taking a breath, emotional cleansing. Some of you are going to have a good cry this week. There's something about releasing emotions, allowing just the water to fall, right? And sort of thinking about, I think that these tears stem from thinking about your future, and whatever emotions come up with respect to your future. I think that it may be a time of emotional healing, right? Or addressing your emotions. But I feel like once you release these emotions, once you have this good cry, I feel like you're going to be a lot more hopeful about the future. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're going to feel, but then also allow yourself to be optimistic. Just because emotions come up and they may not be emotions that we necessarily like, doesn't mean that those emotions have to be attached to that particular situation. They're just coming up to be released. You can still be hopeful. You can still be happy. You can still be optimistic about the future, and you should, but also allow yourself to have that release. It's going to be very cleansing and very cathartic. Okay. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this new week. All right. Again, if you want information on my products and services, all of that is in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the best for this upcoming week, and I'll see you in my next video.